actually plateauing. What's going on, fam? Angus Beef here. Welcome to another episode of Anti-Diet TV. Thanks so much for stopping by to click on this video. I want to talk this week about the whole idea of weight plateaus, yeah? Now, what I used to think myself, and what I find a lot of people also think in their own journey, is that as soon as they see that the scale has basically resulted in their weight being the same as what it was last week, right? They will instantly think that, hey, I've plateaued. Shit, like, things aren't working now, my metabolism is slowing, etc. Right? Now, if you are in this sort of, frame of thinking yourself, well then this video is for you, alright? Now the thing is, fam, is that some real talk right here is that if your weight has been stagnant for a week, alright, you're not actually plateauing, right? To technically count as you've hit a plateau, your weight needs to be the same for 3 weeks, okay? Or at least 2 weeks, depending on how into your timeline you are in terms of trying to lose weight and whether you're competing or not, all right? So technically what I mean by this is that if your weight has stayed the same for 3 weeks in a row and you've been adherent as adherent can be, well then this is where it's going to be wise to tweak some of what your focus points are, or your calories and macros, or whatever it might be, to make some tweaks at this point, all right? But the thing is that a lot of people don't go at it that way. So in other words, it's like I typically see people making changes or doing drastic things after 1 week of seeing no scale weight shift, okay? Now the things that you should be looking out for in terms of adherence and stuff like that, right? Because in other words, it's a big game of consistency, and I find for a lot of people, they aren't 100% consistent. So therefore it's like before any changes should be made, it's like you need to look at your consistency. All right, consistency in terms of calories in. Have you been tracking everything that's coming in terms of bites, licks, tastes, the meals that you've been eating, whether that's meals that have been made by yourself or whether you've been eating out heaps, okay? And chances are you've probably been a bit lenient or off track in terms of your tracking. So this is where it might be wise to dial in on there first, okay? Before you go about thinking that you've plateaued. Typically, this is where the first area of grey area actually is, all right? Another aspect being your food quality, all right? If your food quality is sub 70%, so in other words, above that, what I mean by this is if, say for example, 70 to 80% of, not even that, let's say 60 to 80%, let's say 60 to 80% of your intake of food is of poor quality food, well then a low-hanging fruit here for you to be able to improve scale weight consistency and whether you're plateauing or not is to improve the quality of your food. You want to make sure that the bulk of the time, 80% or so of your food that's coming into your system is quality nutrient-rich food, all right? You need to make sure that you're looking at your micronutrients, all right? Because obviously that's a flow-on effect of having good quality food coming into your system. So if you're, say for example, eating out often and you're not getting in much plants and minimal protein, a low-hanging fruit here is to make sure that you're increasing on this front and in getting in that solid amount of fiber. I find that the average person doesn't get in remotely close to enough fiber, and that's obviously because they're getting in such a shit intake of plants. If you want to know a rough rule of thumb in terms of what to aim for here, about 15 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories that you're consuming, all right? Another aspect being whether you're managing stress or not. If you're shit house at managing stress and you've basically going through the day-to-day in terms of hectic day at work, shit sleep, you're not doing anything to manage those things, and it's just you're building up that internal stress, and then let's say for example you're training on top of that too. If this is happening, you've got a big built up internal cortisol stress pile, right? And if you're not dealing with that, this can cause you to retain fluid, it can muck with your hormones a little bit, and thus impact your scale weight, even though you may be on point with calories, etc. All right. So if that's you, potentially consider, say for example, incorporating meditation throughout your day. Consider taking baths regularly, where you literally just lie down with some Epsom salt in there and just fucking chill. start learning how to do, say for example, deep breathing, maybe journaling, stuff like that. So that way you get better in control of your mental state and you are releasing more stress. And in sync with this, ideally do whatever you can to protect your sleep so that you're getting in ideally 6 to 8 hours per night, or exceeding 40 hours across the week. Another aspect being basically dialing in on the consistency with your workouts. If you say for example are going from like 1 week getting 1 or 2, the next week 4 or 5, another week 6, another week 1 or 2, that is an example of something that you could be getting more consistent with before you go about making drastic changes to your nutrition. And another thing as well is, like, before you even go to basically start making any changes, look at your last 3 weeks of efforts. If you know that you've been 100% on point, awesome, time to make some tweaks and sort of see where you can improve. But if you know that there's gaps in your consistency in those things that I said, definitely focus on trying to improve them first before you go about making any tweaks, because that is where you've actually plateaued then. But often for a lot of people, it's not that you are plateauing, it's that you're inconsistent, and therefore because your scale hasn't shifted, you think, right, I need to slash calories and jump on some fat burners or whatever. No, you don't. Just focus on improving your consistency, and then if you've experienced that 3 weeks of weight stalling, you're likely not recomping. Chances are you've actually hit a plateau and it's time to make a tweak. But tell me, what's your experience been with plateaus? Let us know in the comments below. If you found my tips valuable, also let us know and share this on your social media and tag me in it. That would be sick. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week on Anti Diet TV. Peace out, fam.